Hi, my name's Morgan. I'm making this video as a memoir, as a warning to others, whatever you want to call it. Title says it all. Presumably if you're watching this it's because you're interested, because you know me personally, or because you're interested because you've gone through the same thing and you're looking for answers. I can't guarantee or tell you that I'm going to be able to give you any answers, but what I can do is give you my accounts of what happened to me, and if you've gone through something similar to this, you will probably watch this and just be astonished at the similarities between one person, one sociopath in the Northern Hemisphere and another one in the Southern Hemisphere. I know because I have been over the last few weeks. I've been absolutely shocked at the uncanny links between one person, one sociopath, and another. It's like they're programmed by the same machine. Anyway, I've made some notes because I know I'll just digress and get lost, and I thought it would be good to keep some form of structure. So what I'd like to do is start at the beginning. It's always a good place to start, I think. Right, I'll set the scene. I was meeting up with my ex-girlfriend, at the time ex-girlfriend, purely because we hadn't seen each other in a while. We still get on, still friends, whatever. She stood me up, and so I was a bit pissed off, to say the least. Being stood up by your ex-girlfriend, not the best feeling in the world, trust me. Coincidentally, the pub where I was going to go meet her, a bunch of my mates, 5 or 6 of them, were there as well. As I got there, they were leaving, and I explained the situation. I think she's going to stand me up, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, alright, well, come with us up the road. We'll have a drink there. Give her half an hour. She turns up, she turns up. She doesn't, she doesn't. So I was like, okay, sounds agreeable. So we went for a drink, about 2 minutes up the road. And then she didn't turn up, is the long and the short of it. So I was pissed off, and they were like, come on, let's go to this other pub. There's a night going on there, there are DJs, music playing and such. So I thought, well, what's the worst that can happen? And so I went along. I was skint. I had a £5 and some shrapnel to my name. I come to this decision, I'll come with you for a drink, because that's all I can afford, and then I'll go. Simple as that. Early night. Friday night, I think it was. So anyway, so we go to this place, which is one of my locals, and I bought my one drink, and savoured it, made it last quite a while, and then pretty much as I finished it, I found on the floor what I thought initially was just a bus ticket thing, and I looked at it again and went, holy shit, that's 20 quid. How often does that happen? Finding 20 quid on the floor of a pub. To me that was a good omen, and said, you're staying out for longer than you thought, mate, and you're going to have a good night. So I thought, wicked, that's what's going to happen. So, needless to say, I got quite drunk, and it was getting on a bit. It was probably about midnight, and everyone's dancing away, having a good time, everyone's merry, everyone's happy. I was dancing away, just completely minding my own business, didn't really give a fuck. I was like, tonight's going well, I'm not bothered, I'm just going to have a dance, hang out with my mates and go. As I was dancing, as it was getting late, I felt this hand. I forget now if it was on my hand or on my side, it was one or the other. Basically, I felt this girl before I saw her. And anyway, I feel this person grab me, and then either I turned around or she came to face me, and I was faced with this gorgeous girl, stunning, pretty girl, massive eyes like I'd never seen in my life. At that point, I was sold. Do you know what I mean? Like, she didn't have to say anything. I was keen, but I played it cool. I was like, hello, what's your name? It's quite a normal way to start. She said her name. I won't tell you what her name is, as much as I'd love to. I'm not going to. And I told her mine. pretty much straight after, she then immediately kissed me. There, on the dance floor, seconds after meeting me. And I thought, oh, okay, this is a bit too good to be true. As it turned out, it very much was. Shortly after she kissed me, she said, would you like to come back to mine with me? And I said, yes. Because, I don't know. Doesn't need to be a reason. I just said yes, that's what happened. So I go back to hers with her, quite drunk. Don't really remember getting there, to be honest. And one thing I know is that we didn't sleep together. We slept together, but we didn't have sex. I know this because my trousers were still on. So, and anyway, so I wake up and I'm like, who the fuck is this girl? Like, I've never met this girl before. Incidentally, I should point out, that doesn't happen to me. I think once in my entire life, other than this time, I've said, who the fuck is this person I've woken up next to, met drunk last night? And anyway, so I'm in her bed, quite hungover, and we're just chatting. Her friend comes in, she was out at the pub, she didn't come back with us, but she came in, also quite hungover. We have a few vodkas or whatever. It was like 8 in the morning or something. We were just like, yeah, just keep the party going, basically. And, yeah, we hung out for the day, I think. Yeah, we went to one of our other locals that day and met a few of her friends. They all seemed nice. So I was like, okay, this girl's clearly sound. And that was it. I got a number, and then we started messaging each other. And then, you know, it just seemed to progress quite quickly, but naturally, it felt like at the time, into a normal budding relationship. And so, as from up until here, I've absolutely no reason to think anything other than this is my perfect woman. I found my partner that I've always been looking for. I should also point out I have not had very good history with women in that I'm not a wife beater. I'm wearing a wife beater. I'm not a wife beater. I just have very bad luck, I guess, or, you know, I'm just bad at relationships, or I haven't found the right one, or whatever. And for once, things were going good, so why the fuck would I question it? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm going to quickly refer to my notes here. Yeah, early warning signs, which a lot of them were present throughout, and because I was under her fucking hypnotic spell, I always just thought, oh, you're just being paranoid, you know, don't worry, don't read too much into it. But here's one thing. It sounds a bit weird and 21st century and possibly quite paranoid, but whatever, humour me. She would upload pictures of she and I to Facebook as her profile picture, which is nice, I thought. Yeah. The only thing I started to notice is that the pictures would get a couple of likes from my friends, because they're like, oh, this is nice, look, he's finally met this girl, girl of his dreams, wants to be with her, he's really happy, I'll give him a like, why not? From her side, people that knew her and not me, not one like. And that to me was the first warning sign of going, hang on a minute, that's not right. Surely if two people are together and they know they're happy, then everyone would be happy. But to me that just said that she, you know, people that know her see those pictures and go, oh god, not another one. As in another bloke that she spits up, like chews up and spits out. That's what I thought at the time before having any reason to think so. So that was one thing. The other thing is, my initial reaction when we met and for the first week or whatever was like, this is too good to be true. And you know, there was signs of that spewing out in that I've been in relationships before, never once really, I don't think, has anyone ever said, oh, you two make such a perfect couple. And we got this quite a lot. Like, quite a few people would say it. And I'm like, no one's ever said this before. This really is just too good to be true. But at the time, I believed it was true because I had no reason not to. So that's another thing. Talk about red flags. This one night, I think I was working in the pub late and arranged to meet up with her at hers that night. and she'd had a few drinks, she'd been out with her mates or whatever. You know, she was a bit pissed when I got there. And so I ring her, say I'm outside. She comes down, opens the door in her pyjamas, which isn't anything unusual. If she was home, she was in her pyjamas, I should say. She was. Same with me. But beyond the pyjamas, I noticed, because it was fucking obvious, she had huge sex hair. All over the place it was, like, ridiculous. And I went, what the fuck is that? What have you been up to? You know, there's partying and then there's that. And she said, oh no, I was just rolling around in my bed because I'm a bit fucked. And that's kind of where she left it. And at the time, you know, I was like, well, she's telling me every day she loves me, and, you know, we're formulating all these plans as a couple. She wouldn't cheat on me. That'd be daft. And this is me being the paranoid fucker was cheated on by his first girlfriend twice, and so has always been paranoid about these things happening. Over the years, I've learned that the more you worry about it, the more you're going to instigate it, in a sense. So I didn't worry. Like I said, I had no reason to, other than that sex hair thing. Another thing that I noticed, and this is only after doing research that this occurred to me, whilst I was working at this pub, she'd come and hang out with me during the day or whatever, you know, if it was night, or, you know, half the time I worked there, she was there hanging out, after work, or whatever, you know, which I thought was quite nice. And after doing my research, it turns out that these sociopaths, they will basically arrange a date with two people at the same time. Same place, same time. And so I'm working at the bar, and she's there, sat at the bar, drinking a fucking cider or whatever. And that was quite normal. A couple of times she arranges to meet up with a good friend of hers, who's quite a tall, blonde, quite attractive, dashing, handsome bloke. And again, I thought nothing of it because I had no fucking reason to. Now that I think back, she'd basically arranged a date with this guy, and now that I think back, the way they were sitting, it was so obvious. She arranged a date with this guy right in front of me as I'm working. And, you know, I didn't assume any malice, because why fucking would I? And like I said, that only came to me after this breakup happened. Let me just go back to my notes a second. Oh yeah, I should probably point out how it ended, since I've gone through the beginning and part of the middle. Incidentally, we're only together 5 months, which is nothing, really, in the grand scheme of things, but that was enough time for her to completely get inside my head and under my skin, and I've never been so fucking traumatized from any experience with any person in my life. And I've been through a few, but this one has stayed with me more. I feel like it's changed me as a person to a certain extent. Anyway, the way it ended was I got a job in a call centre, which I did many years ago, and I promised myself I'd never get back into that line of work because it depresses me. It turns me into a hollow shell of who I am. And she knew this, right? We'd spoken about this many times. And I was job hunting at the time, and I got a call from this call centre saying, oh yeah, we can give you a job. And I said to her, I was like, as much as I need a job, I really don't want that, because I know it's going to depress me, and you're not going to like the person it will make me into. What she said was, you know, just do whatever you feel is right, basically. Very passively encouraging me to get this job that she knew would make me upset. As it turns out, it did. It made me fucking depressed, and I got signed off, and still am, in fact, signed off sick with depression, because I just can't fucking cope with the job. It's impossible. Bear in mind, at the time, actually, I'll leave that bit out. So I'm in a bad space, right? I'm really depressed, like literally borderline suicide, because I see no way out of this job. And whether it was the job, whether it was her, now that I think back, it could have been either. Could have been both. Could have been my brain telling me something was up other than the job. But at the time I focused it, you know, my thought was it was the job. Because it was directly having an effect, as I knew it would. So I'm really depressed for a few weeks, and for these couple of weeks that I was feeling very, very glum. She was being quite short with me via text and via phone, very matter of fact. You know, are you coming over tonight? Yes. You know, oh, how was work today? It was okay. Whereas previous to this, you know, she'd go into huge depth and tell me everything about her day because I was interested. I wanted to know how her day had gone. And now she was just, it felt like she was almost a different person to a certain extent. Just withholding all this information and not releasing, not, you know, sharing, which is what, you know, relationships are supposed to be about. Again, I'm fucking digressing. I was hoping to keep this as a short video. It's obviously not going to be. The way she dumped me was I woke up 9 o'clock in the morning, or just before, to a text from her saying, I need to come around tonight, we need to have a chat. This is after her being short with me for a couple of weeks. I went, oh shit, here we go. Again, another breakup. I just knew, automatically I knew that's what it was about, because you read a text like that, it's not going to be something good, let's put it that way. And so I went, you know, I was texting frantically going, what the hell's up, what's going on, talk to me. And I forget whether she ended it via text or via actually speaking to me on the phone, but she broke up with me over the phone. And immediately became this totally different person. I didn't know her, like, straight away, even just by the way she was texting me. I was like, who are you? You're not the person that I fell in love with and committed to and was supportive of for 5 months only. And that's how it ended, just like that. And I said, well, what the fuck, what's your reasoning? And she said, oh, my feelings changed. And that's all she would tell me. She wouldn't give me any more explanation, she just said that over and over again. My feelings changed. And my brain wouldn't tolerate, it wouldn't accept that. People's feelings don't just change, just like that. Certainly not after 5 months of totally smooth sailing. No arguing, no conflicts, no fights, no disputes, nothing. Just completely smooth sailing the entire time. All of a sudden, you're dumped. Just like that. Yeah, she just would refuse to talk to me, she wouldn't answer my texts. She just cut me off, basically. As much as I was trying to get information from her, she just wouldn't give it to me. Yeah, also, during this time, at the same time, right, I got signed off sick with depression on the Wednesday. I needed to find somewhere to live as well. I'd been given notes from my flat, and she said, don't worry, you can stay with me until you find somewhere else, sort of thing. A couple of weeks, be fine. No problems there. I've even asked my housemates. They're okay with it. So yeah, got signed off on the Wednesday. The Thursday, she dumped me. The Friday, I had to move out of my flat. And obviously frantically putting on Facebook, someone help me, I need to find somewhere to live immediately. And thank God, where I am right now is my friend Tony's house. He took me in, he gave me a room, charged me minimal rent, and I owe him immensely. I can't even begin. So all of this stuff, trying to find a new job whilst being signed off from your current job, and trying to find a house, and then your girlfriend breaking up with you, is quite a lot to go through. All quite suddenly. And she knew the situation. She knew where I was at in my head. She knew I was in a fucking low place. And just remorselessly ended it via the phone. No sort of, you know, oh, I could tell in her voice whatever she was saying wasn't the truth. It wasn't genuine. She had no remorse, no guilt, nothing at all. And this is when I kind of knew it was not a normal breakup, because I've been through breakups before. There's always a sense of, oh, but we can work things out, we'll chat about it. I'll make it up to you, blah, 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 blah. And I knew in an instant that this was not the case. That was never going to happen with this. That was it. It was done. End of. And I knew that immediately. My brain just accepted the fact. Which before I'd never done. I'm always, like I say, I'm not very good at relationships, so a lot of the time I just, try and basically just win the person back. I think that's quite a normal thing to do. But like I said, in this case, I knew there was no point whatsoever. So that's how we met, and a bit at the beginning, and how it ended. The lasting effects that I'm finding, I mean, this was... where are we now? It was about 3 weeks ago, all this happened. And what I've... what you feel initially isn't necessarily what you feel 3 weeks afterwards. I still feel the same about all of it, to be honest, every single bit. The lasting effects that it's had is that I feel numb, I feel used, hollow, and I'm seriously, even now, already having serious trust issues. Not with women. I'm staying well away from women for the time being. I'm talking about my mates, my friends, people that I've known for years. I'm now worried that they're going to turn around and stab me in the back. I know they're not going to, because they're my friends and they're honest. I don't keep bad company. I've strived my entire life for that, and I know I've got no reason to be paranoid about my friends because they're my friends, but there's still, I don't want to trust anyone at all. And regarding women, I'm kind of in a catch-22 now, and will be for the foreseeable future, in that any woman that tries to gain my trust, even if it's in a relationship or not, is going to have to work fucking hard to earn that trust. But because of this girl, the sociopath, she's, the harder she tries, the more I'm going to push her away. Doesn't matter who she is. Because all I'm going to be thinking in my paranoid mind now is, what's in this for you? What are you trying to get out of me? Why are you telling me this? All of this is it's just going to be constant. And yeah, so it's a complete catch-22. If I had bad luck with women before, this is just, above and beyond. There's a section here I've put, our heart-to-hearts. Like I said, my first girlfriend cheated on me twice, big issue, long-lasting issue with every relationship. And she knew all of this, because we had these heart-to-hearts. We had a few drinks, we went to the pub, we sat together, we open up. That's what people do in a relationship, you open up. You trust each other. So I was trusting her to listen and to care. These heart-to-hearts were not actually heart-to-hearts, I've now discovered. What they were was her just probing me for information, for ways to get a grip on me, and, just rinse me of all emotion or whatever. So she knew I was fragile. She knew that I had these issues. Only too well. I said it many times. But I did also say to her, for whatever reason, I trust you. I don't want to instigate you cheating on me, and I'm just going to believe in my heart and convince myself that you're not going to cheat on me. Partly because I don't want to fuck up the relationship by being a paranoid motherfucker. Also because she was telling me everything I wanted to hear. She told me every day she loved me so much, and how I was so perfect. Yeah, all of these little heart-to-hearts we had weren't heart-to-hearts. They were just her, yeah, like I say, finding ways in, finding angles that she could dominate me from, basically. And she would often ask, why are you a committophobe? How have you been single for so long? Because I'd been single for over a year before I met her, quite happily, I should point out. I wasn't looking at the time, but she changed my opinion. And she was like, why are you so, why are you a committophobe? What's going on? And so I told her the girlfriend cheating on me thing, bad luck with relationships, blah, 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 blah. And every time, that was just her basically gauging how easily she would have power over me. As it turns out, I was a walk in the park for her. I was a complete sucker. I put a bit here of how I've discovered what she is. Basically, all it is I was, I registered that this wasn't a normal breakup. In fact, technically speaking, it wasn't even a breakup because we were never really together. But I knew straight away something was up. Something was seriously wrong here. Aside from the fact that I've had my heart broken, it was more. It was way more than that. And so I couldn't just sit and go, oh well, it's just a breakup, whatever, I'll just carry on. My brain was going at 1,000,000 miles an hour trying to figure out what happened. And so I looked online, found hundreds of websites, plenty of websites dedicated to forums and, blogs of people that have gone through this exact same thing. And in a way, I was like, so that's what it was. Oh, that's a relief. I'm not such a useless freak. But it didn't make it any easier. It helped me put a name to what happened, but it didn't help. It didn't make me feel better. Deep down, I felt more educated and more, I knew where I stood, basically. And the more I looked on these websites, the more information I gathered, the more that it was so fucking obvious that she was a sociopath. If there's 20 traits on each website of things to expect from a sociopath, she had 18 of them or 19 of them on every page. Do you know what I mean? It's quite normal for the non-sociopathic human being to have a couple of these traits. Excuse me, but certainly not all of them, or 90%. And so I did the bad thing. After doing like the tip of the iceberg of research and working out what she was, I sent her an email, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I just wanted to let her know that I knew what she is. Not who she is, what she is. And so I did, in great detail. I even referenced a couple of the websites I'd been looking at. Got no response. None whatsoever. I know she got the email because I know it's her email address, so obviously she's going to get it. And so she knows I know what she is. And since then, there's been hardly any contact. I still owe her 90 quid, which she's not going to get back, partly because I'm completely skint. But that's really the only reason for any contact now. But, I've done everything. I've removed her on Facebook, WhatsApp, removed every text, every message, everything, every photo, every little thing that that would remind me of her. But still, there's always this niggling isn't going away. Some days I'm better, some days I'm worse. It is getting better overall, but I still feel that these long-term effects of trust being broken aren't going to go away, because that's your defense mechanism. That's how you stop these damaging, detrimental things happening to you again. So I'm fucked from now on. I'm just going to be impossible today. I was tricky before. Now, and I don't expect. You don't need to be like that. You'll find the ideal one. I'm not looking. I'm not interested. The most depressed I've been is when I've been broken up with, or broken up with someone, or whatever. So I'm just going to leave that now. How she succeeded. This is probably the most important point, and where, if you haven't gone through this, and this sounds like a fucking nightmare, then heed my warning. I beg you. Don't take this lightly at all. The only reason, really, I'm doing this video is hopefully to warn others, or to relate to people that have gone through the same thing. But yeah, how she succeeded. She basically put me in a trap, like I said, about passively encouraging me to get this depressing, horrible call centre job. And in fact, I'll tell you the one moment where she got her claws in. And again, I didn't realise this at the time, but basically about a week or two after us going out, she went away to her mum's in Scotland, came back, And we met up in a pub, like 2 in the afternoon, couple of drinks, nothing crazy at all. I forget how it came about, but basically she started, in public, bawling her eyes out to me because she claimed that she tried to kill herself 6 months to a year ago or so. My reaction to that was, you know, oh, don't worry about it. You know, we've all got our fucking history, stuff we're not proud of. It's fine. You're alive now, that's all that matters. I like you enough to, you know, to comfort you and to make you all right. Not make you all right, that sounds wrong, but to, you know, just be a supportive person. And that was when, and from doing my research, this is what they do. They play the victim, they gauge how empathetic a person is. If I'd have reacted by going, what, you tried to kill yourself? Oh, you're a bit of a fucking nutter, well, see you later. Then this could have all been avoided. If I was a less caring person. But these are the kind of people that they go for, are people that are empathetic and do want to help and do have a heart and try and not give that to someone, but help people generally, particularly one person that you're very infatuated with. We are the prime targets because we're easy to trick. Because, you know, if someone says, I tried to kill myself, you're going to assume that that's true. Because it's, you know, it's not really a joking matter. Thinking back, I don't think it was true. In a way, I kind of wish it was. Because then that would give her some genuine grounds for me to give all of these emotions to her. But from what I think now, from what I've learned, it was complete bullshit. And that's how, in that exact moment, that's when she knew she had me. Little did I know. Another thing that raised my suspicions is she was just so giving of everything. Anything I demanded, not demanded, anything I wanted, she would facilitate. Let's put it that way. Regarding everything, you know, if I'd had a bad day at work, she'd bring me Haribo. Do you know what I mean? Like, just nice little things, but all really too nice and too soon. But, you know, I was just thinking, well, if I'm a perfect person, why shouldn't this be really, really nice? But it's all basically down to brainwashing. They do tell you everything you want to hear. They'll do everything you want. They'll, you know, they basically mould themselves to your personality, right? I like death metal and gabba and drum and bass and quite loud, crazy music, industrial stuff. As did she, or so she claimed. If I'd have been into jazz or, you know, country and western or something, she'd be like, yeah, country and western's wicked, let's go and listen to some country and western. It doesn't matter what the subject was. She would have said, oh yeah, I really like that. In fact, the one thing that we disagreed on initially was that I liked Slayer, the band, and she didn't. That was it. And yeah, it just all was too easy, too soon, too perfect. And that should have been a sign. She played the victim with the suicide. Yeah, I've already gone over that. She used sex as a tool, as a weapon, almost. And that's another thing that's very common with sociopaths from what I read, is that in the same way that they're really willing to, you know, to comfort you or to buy you fucking chocolates or whatever, they're equally willing in the bedroom. Regardless of what your taste is, or, you know, whatever you're into, there are no boundaries, essentially. If you ask, you get. I proved that a couple of times. And again, this is just a way for them to get a grip on you. The only interest these people have are themselves and fulfilling their wishes, their own wishes. They have no emotions, well, apart from, you know, anger and self-righteousness, if that's even an emotion. But they don't have empathy. They don't have guilt. They've got no accountability for their actions. And so using sex as a tool, perfectly normal to them, not a problem at all. And so that's what she did. It also occurs to me, you know, if she's lied about one thing, why wouldn't every single thing she said be a lie? So this perfect relationship, or what I perceived for 5 months to be a perfect relationship, turned out to be, from beginning to end, a complete lie. You know, all of these compliments, how I'm Mr. Perfect, she built me up massively. Complete ego booster. And I forget where I was going. Basically, all of these signs, if you start going out with someone that's very charming, very attractive, sort of exudes sex appeal, inexplicably, somehow, be fucking careful. Seriously. I was duped. I've never felt like such a fucking idiot and a fool, and people have been saying, don't feel like a fool, she's just very skilled at manipulating people. You know, all you were doing was being a caring person, and that's exactly what I was doing. And the way it's made me feel now is like, why the fuck should I bother? You know, if I open myself up and tell this person some of my deepest, darkest secrets, and she's capable of just writing me off like I was a bike, then, you know, why wouldn't the next person? And I know it's statistically quite unlikely, but that's my defense mechanism. It's just not bother again. I'm 27, by the way, and I'm just despondent now. The next time some woman tries to get my attention, I'm just not going to bite at all. And that's, you know, that's what this has created, is a pessimistic outlook on relationships in general, which, to be fair, I kind of already had. And I was talking to a counsellor, and she said it literally sounds like your worst nightmare. And it is. It really is. It's the embodiment of everything I've ever feared. But at the time, in the beginning, first few months, it was the complete opposite. It was like all of my preconceptions were unnecessary, and they may have been relevant at some point, but now that I've found this girl, they're gone. They're pointless. They're thrown to the wind. As it turns out, there's not been a single point in my life when I should have been more paranoid. But, you know, you can only learn from these things. But I do implore you, you know, if you've been through this and your jaw's dropped because I've said literally everything that you've experienced, I know how you feel, because that's how I've been for the last few weeks. If you haven't gone through this, please do everything you possibly can to avoid it. I don't feel like there's any coming back from this. Admittedly, it's only been a few weeks, but I think my barriers are back up and aren't coming down anytime soon. And also this feeling I wouldn't wish on anyone, of just complete emptiness and lack of desire to do anything. It's not just relationships. I can't face work. I can't face, you know, trying to find a new house. My life is pretty much grounded to a halt, to the point where in a month's time I'm moving to Spain, to go and see my dad and just touch base and just regather myself and try and recompose myself in a slightly more warm environment, basically. And yeah, in a sense, I feel like my life in the UK now is done. I've got quite a lot going for me here in a lot of ways, and I'm quite willing now to just throw all of that away and start again, because if I hang around here, and I'm just going to get constant reminders of this bitch. And yeah, honestly, I just implore you, really, really be careful if someone seems like the right person for you, because it's really hard to not sound like a complete depressing bastard about it, but the fact of the matter is, these people do exist. I thought they were just, you know, something you read about in books or in films. But no, they are real people, and they're incredibly deceptive, and yeah, like I said, I wouldn't wish this feeling on my worst enemy. I think I've covered everything that I wanted to go over. Yeah, that's been my experience. If you feel you can relate, then I'm very sorry to hear that, but you know, you're not alone. I'm not alone. And yeah, just keep an eye out for warning signs. Do a bit of research into the person as well. The mistake I made was immediately going, yes, I really want to be with you, full stop, like the day after we met. Always do a bit of background research, you know, find out who their family, how their family life is, who their friends are, how many friends they have, and what sort of friends they have. Sociopaths tend to stick to a small group of friends, because, well, for one, they piss people off wherever they go. And people like me, who's definitely the wrong kind of person to do this to, I exposed her, basically. I've told everyone. Everyone I know knows what she's like, who she really is. And that really was my only resolve in this situation, because there's nothing I can say to make her feel bad. Do you know what I mean? Because she has no remorse, she has no sense of guilt. The one thing that I do know that a sociopath doesn't want is everyone knowing they're a sociopath. So what else am I supposed to do but tell everyone? It's, in a way, making myself feel a bit better. It's also trying to warn people about this particular girl, because we have a few friends in common. And yeah, it's been such a head fuck. I've never done talking to my webcam video about anything ever. Let's put it that way. And I feel slightly better after doing it, to be honest. Feels like I've got a bit off my chest. But I can. This video could go on for hours. Hours and hours and hours, but I'm going to end it shortly. Yeah, final notes. Be fucking careful of these people. They do exist, trust me. And you don't want anything to do with them. And they'll try anything to get your attention. They will lie and lie and lie and lie. Tailored lies to each, you know, target or victim or whatever. Not that I'd like to be considered a fucking victim. And yeah, if I could change one thing in my life, it would be not meeting her. One thing in my entire 27 years. The one person that I really genuinely wish I'd never met. Yeah, so I hope it's been informative and that you don't feel like I've just been babbling endlessly about my problems. Consider it just a warning, a friendly warning from one human being to another, or to many others. Yeah. Adios.